Hold your horses. Okay.
I've heard of it.
Is this on? Can you hear me? It's on. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Shelton Board of Education regular meeting in person at the Board of Education office on Long Hill Avenue. And today is Wednesday, February 23rd, 2021, and it is 7:05 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Joseph Pagliaro.
He's on the phone.
Lorraine Rosner. Here. Kate Kutash. Here. Diana Meyer. Here. Patty Noonan. Here. James Rossetti.
Here.
Carl Rizzo.
Here.
Amy Romano. Here. Kathy Olish.
Here.
Thank you. And for the minutes, will reflect present at the meeting is John Calhoun, Todd Heffelfinger, Carol Pinozzo, Ken Serenich, Rachel Camiglio, Sanjana Jain, and Kristen Santilli.
And Fred.
And Fred Stanek.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Agenda item 2, may I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Motion made by Kate Kutash. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Number 3, the approval of the consent agenda. We just, a motion to approve it.
Yep.
Okay, do we have a motion?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Motion made by Kate Kutash. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Lorraine Rosner. Any discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. All right, number 4, we're moving right along here. Presentations and recognition. Mr. Superintendent.
So we do have one presentation this evening.
We do.
I was trying to sneak it in as a surprise presentation because we are going to honor one of us amongst us in the board. Tonight we'd like to recognize one of our student board reps, Sanjana Jain. For those of you who are unaware, Sanjana was honored last Saturday, February 12th, by Senator Murphy. She was a participant in his annual Martin Luther King Jr. essay contest. There is over 1,200 essays that go to that essay contest from 170 different schools in the state of Connecticut, and Sanjana was recognized as a winner. Wow. So congratulations. So we'd like to,
You can present it. Just tell her I framed it.
on behalf of the Board of Education, we'd like to present Sanjana with this recognition for his job well done. Come over here, Mom, let's take a picture. That's nice of you.
Oh, Kathy, get in there. Hey.
Madam Chair, that's all of our presentations.
Okay, so now we're on to Student Board of Education Representative Report. Okay, who's going first?
Hi everyone. So recently we had
Rachel,
ADA.
can you pull the microphone closer to you, please? Thank you.
So recently we had lab apps. And that first started on December 16th and 17th, but the last date had to be pushed, so they did it on February 11th and 12th. And I went one of the days, and it was really fun. All the grades performed very well, and the crowd was really engaged. Adding to that, they're starting the spring musical, and it's going to be the musical this year. We also had around 94% of students participate in clubs this past month, which was a really high turnout in recent years, so that was really exciting. And for sports, the winter sports are ending and a lot of them are over, and track had over a dozen people go to the Class L championship, and a lot of them won medals. And they also, a couple of kids made it to Opens. And for wrestling, 2 people placed in the Class L, and both of them are going to Opens. And tomorrow, we actually have the Unified Basketball Tournament at the high school. Also, spring sports are starting up, and there's 11 sports going on. And for seniors, a couple new things are coming up. The cap, gown, and diploma orders are on March 10th. And that's all that's really determined right now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so some more things that we have. Well, first, thank you for the certificate and the flowers. And so 2 things that we haven't had since in like 2 years because of COVID were midterms and the fashion show. So midterms, definitely like the student body as a whole thought it was hard to get back into the routine of having to study for such a big test, which is like 5 months of our work. But overall, it was helpful to really be able to recap everything, and it'll only help when it comes to like finals and AP exams. And then for the fashion show, that was put on by DECA, and the theme was Hall of Fame. So we had like movie stars or sports walk, and it was a great way to get the student body excited and come all together. You watched your friends, or you participated, or you helped out. For the junior, Rachel talked about some senior events. For the juniors, we have the SAT on March 23rd, and we have the Junior Book and Achievement Awards. With that goes, junior and senior prom dates were decided, so that's been something that everyone's really excited about. For junior prom on May 21st and senior prom on May 7th. So those are some 2 things to look forward to. And then lastly, we have our robotics team. We have our first competition on March 12th in Waterbury, so that'll be live streamed as well. And we've just been putting together our robot, finishing the programming, and then getting ready for competition. So that's really it, Ashok and I.
Okay, thank you very much. Item number 6, public comment. For board policy numbers 9323 and 9325, 5 minutes allotted to each speaker. No Board of Ed employee, student, or community member should be defamed within public comment. Any members of the public who wish to speak briefly before the board must only comment on matters associated with the Board of Education business. Persons wishing to address the Shelton Board of Education are limited to Shelton residents, parents of current Shelton students, and employees of Shelton Public Schools or service contracted providers of Shelton Public Schools. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak? Oh, we have it right here. The first person, Sherry Rizzio.
Okay. Ending some mandates is not the end. It's merely the beginning. In Shelton, look at the voting record. It's shameful. Nobody votes. Voting is not getting into politics. It's making a choice on who is going to act on our behalf. 2 weeks ago, Governor announced his plan to free us of mask mandates. An actual quote from his speech was, "I think this is something we earned, Connecticut." This is the governor that has isolated our children to their homes, forced them to learn on computer screens, often alone, emotionally scarred and drained them into wearing masks like robots, afraid even to get a cold. stripped us of our religious exemptions for all vaccines. They have forced our teachers, staff, in some cases, students to get COVID-19 testing and vaccines, which still have not been approved and under emergency use authorization only, which means the force of these mandates go directly against the Nuremberg Code, particularly the part where it says all participants need to consent without coercion. Consent is absolutely essential, and I'm paraphrasing, hoping that people will look it up. I would like to remind parents and the board that no human in the face of the earth has ever earned freedom, which includes body autonomy. We were given natural rights from God to be free by our Creator, not by government. Governments are not designed to allocate freedom. They're designed to protect it. That's the very foundation of America. What we need to do in Shelton is what we should have done a decade ago. We need to start paying very close attention to what these people are doing. Unless parents start getting involved in meetings like this, doing their own research, getting to the bottom of things, and demand change, we will continue to move in the same direction. We need to teach our kids American foundations, examples like the Declaration of Independence, the U.S. Constitution, and the Federalist Papers have all you need to know about diversity, equity, and inclusion. We don't always love our past and sometimes aren't proud of it, but it makes us better adults, parents, children of God, and Americans. This governor has controlled us every way he could get away with, but it started long before COVID. This was our fault. We all consented in one way, shape, or form, if anything, because we've said, I don't do politics. This is a theory that prohibition could have been brought into reality because somebody figured out if you can teach a third grader a new ideology well enough that they believe it as fact, you can change the next generation. So third graders were taught that drinking was wrong, and within a generation, it was illegal. The third grade class of today will become the leaders of our city tomorrow. If we don't like the way we've been governed the past few years, we better make sure that this generation knows where we lacked in knowledge, where we were not brave enough to stand up for what was right, so when they are presented with the same situation, they will recognize it and stop it at its inception. We are foolish to think kids are resilient enough to get past this. What we've done to our children the past few years is going to have negative repercussions. How will our children turn this around on us? I ask that the parents in Shelton and our Board of Education will make it a goal this year to take back our rights as parents going forward, as taxpayers and parents should decide on curriculum that is part of our children's foundation, and it needs to be absolutely transparent. In addition, we need to take back our rights for religious exemptions and medical freedoms. As always, if we stand united and speak united, where one parent falls short, another can pick up. Our children will be put back on track, and we just need to do this together. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Mr. Orzetti.
James Orzetti, 81 William Street, Shelton. I'm making these comments here tonight because the last board meeting, it wasn't happening. I was unable to attend the teaching and learning meeting, and these are my thoughts along with Mr. Pagliaro, Mr. Rizzo, and myself. We fully support Mrs. Romano's initiative of reviewing and auditing curriculum and publication material. This is something that happened last month. It got to be a big item. We believe it is the board's responsibility to represent our parents in the oversight of material being distributed to our students. It's an absolute. And reviewing comments for justification of a publication in question, the statements were of psychological and sociological defensive nature. I did not read the book, but it led me to question the proper venue in the placement in our English curriculum. Maybe it might have been better off in a psychology class or a sociology class. Ms. Romano, as a parent and a board member herself, deserves not to be censured, as these false allegations have implied she was implicating. There was never any discussion of censoring a book. Never. But she does deserve to be satisfactorily answered, as I hope all our parents are when asking a question. Again, we, the Board of Education, represent all the students, the parents, and the taxpayers. And if you don't believe so, I don't know what you're doing here. I had to make these comments here from this state, from this position. I would have rather had a discussion at a board meeting or at Teaching and Learning. But again, I was out of the country for the Teaching and Learning meeting, and I was unable to express myself, Mr. Rizzo, Mr. Pagliaro, and myself, and of course, I believe Ms. Romano would also.
Excuse me, Mr. Rossetti, are you speaking as a board member, and you are representing, you have everyone's permission to speak for them?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Just
I'm
wanna-
speaking for myself as a
Well, no,
as
we
a
have
parent.
to clarify. Are
Yeah,
you
okay,
speaking
well-
are you speaking for yourself, or are you speaking as a representative?
Well, let's
of
say
the
I'm
board?
speaking for myself, but I'm also including, I also have the permission to include these other folks,
Okay,
okay?
all right.
All right? I mean, that shouldn't be a big issue. You know, again, I believe the board members should not be regulated to speaking at a public portion as I am right now. I mean, most agendas, what's that, 2 minutes? Most agendas, including Southern Connecticut State University, the city of Shelton, who actually we are under the guise of the city charter, have a unfinished business and a new business section where we can have a discussion amongst ourselves. As it is right now, there is no discussion other than what is placed on the agenda. So as previously done, but it is our responsibility to review curriculum.
1 minute left.
Okay? All right, thank you very much. That's all I wanted to say. It's very simple.
All right,
Thank you.
just to address your thought about.
Madam Chairman, I believe that the Board of Education is not supposed to respond to public portion.
I believe that the chairperson may respond.
That's against your own policy.
May I ask the attorney to address just your decision on I think you came out with a ruling on unfinished and new business on our agenda.
Yes, I did issue an opinion letter after Mr. Rossetti raised the issue of the agenda not including categories of new business and unfinished business. Those two categories are not required, but it's certainly within the discretion of the board to categorize agenda items. Agenda items have to be specific as to what is going to be discussed under the Freedom of Information Act. But you could, if you wish, have finished and unfinished business grouping, categorizing the different specific agenda items, if you wish, but it's not required.
Thank you. All right,
I was
well,
fully aware of that. I gave you 2 examples of where Southern Connecticut State University has it on their agenda, the city of Shelton has it on our agenda, lots of places have it on agendas. It's not that you can't have it on the agenda.
okay, next. Brandy Paula, am I saying it correctly?
Yes, Brandy
Okay,
Paulo.
thank you.
So I'm not as prepared as everybody else here, but my name is Brandy Paulo. I'm a mother of 3 here in Shelton. I have a 5th grader, a 3rd grader, and a preschooler who I decided to send to Catholic school. I do appreciate, thank you so much for voting against the masks because it has been detrimental in my household. My kids come home on a constant basis, absolutely hating them. So to say that the kids are resilient is not true. And I don't care who you are, what you think. I see it from experience, I see it with my children, I see it with their friends, and it's absolutely awful. With that being said, and moving forward from that, are we gonna bring this back to like normal school? Like my kids haven't had in the last 2 years the haunted hallway or the picnics or the father-daughter holiday dances. And these are all things that my kids are missing out on, and it's part of their childhood. So as a mom I don't understand why this became such a political situation. This isn't about our health, this is about our freedoms. So if we want to bring it back to our schools, I am begging you guys, as the Board of Education of Shelton, make it back to normal. I am from Florida, my entire family lives there. When my children speak to their cousins down there, they're still like, oh my gosh, you guys are still doing COVID? We haven't done that all year. Everything is back to normal. So why is it not back to normal here? So if you're gonna tell me that it's all about health, we have, and I think this week, there was only 300 people in the hospitals in all of the state of Connecticut. So it has nothing to do with that. My son, who was in 5th grade, was told by a substitute teacher when his mask fell below his nose that if she got COVID, that it was gonna be his fault if she got hospitalized. Is that something that you should put on an 11-year-old child? That's their fault? That if they can cause such bodily harm to people? Come on, we are adults here. All I'm asking for is that we bring it back to a normal school and a normal school year. I don't want to pull my children and put them in a Catholic school. I loved the Shelton public school system. I really did. And in the last couple of years, I get it, the first year of COVID was understandable. This year, this is unacceptable. So I please beg you guys to bring it back to normal. Make it worth what it was supposed to be, why I moved to Shelton. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else from the public who wishes to speak? Anyone else from the public who wishes to speak? Anyone else from the public who wishes to speak? Sensing none, we will go on to our next item, the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had passed out to all the board members. As you are aware, February is Black History Month. Our schools have been celebrating in all different manners and ways throughout the school day, during the day, curriculum-based, special programs, announcements. What you have is kind of like a synthesized report from all of our schools, because I know that was requested of me by the board members, and just how we are recognizing that as part of the day-to-day teaching and learning within the school system. As I reported at the finance meeting earlier, I just want to say it again at our full meeting. One of the concerns that has always been a mission of mine that was brought to my attention upon receiving this position a year ago was the outstanding building reimbursement projects that were with the city and the Board of Education. As you know, we made a concerted effort, the board and administration working together, closing out all 4 of them and submitting them to the state. 3 of them have come back, and there was always still 1 outstanding, and no one understood why. I've been working with the city officials and specifically with the mayor on his request in terms of where that funding would come and when it would come. In my most recent meeting with him just a few weeks ago, the discussion got brought up again. I worked diligently with the State Department in terms of this last outstanding building project to find out that the state recognized the idea that it had been misfiled with the other ones. Now it has been processed, received, and moved forward, in which our city and our taxpayers will be getting the full reimbursement from this outstanding project, closing them out finally. So this is a very positive thing that we just want to report out. And I did make sure that President Ingles and the mayor were aware of this. So I think it's just something to celebrate and recognize at our meeting. The last thing that I just want to talk about in my report, as the public is well aware, we made the announcement that effective Monday on February 28th, there will no longer be a mask mandate in the state of Connecticut. As this board has taken the position, the board never voted on masks. We don't have a policy here at the board on masks. We are following the mandate from the governor's office. That mandate has since expired, and we are not taking any action to extend it. We are just following the mandate as it was put in place and as it was expired. I want to thank everyone for their feedback that I've received from the community at large, Board of Ed members, administration, the cooperation in kind of making this decision and announcement moving forward. It's really nice to receive emails from the public to know where they stand on this, to help us make these determinations and moving forward. We are moving to a mask option, so we want to say that it's not the idea that we're eliminating masks. We want to make sure that those who still choose and decide to wear one are welcome to do so. Mask optional does not mean definitively yes on or definitively no off. It means mask optional. So that can mean that students and staff can choose to wear them in certain settings, as if they were at an assembly or in a large congregation, but then feel free to take it off when they're in their classroom sitting with the students that they're normally around. There is no set formality to this. It is an option, and those who choose to continue to wear a mask may do so, as well as those who choose to not wear one can take that mask off. We are continuing with the mitigation strategies that have been given to us by the state of Connecticut, but the state of Connecticut has now changed their position, as I've informed the board and administration, that COVID-19 will be addressed like any other infectious disease. That's the position of the state of Connecticut, much like the flu or any other infectious disease. So we will do the same with COVID-19. So some of these mitigation strategies that we have seen have always been in place when we have flu season, reminding students to wash their hands, reminding them in terms of their behaviors and habits. That was something longstanding that has always taken place in the school system well before COVID. It's just how we manage infectious diseases to keep our populations healthy. That's the way we'll be treating COVID-19 moving forward. In terms of some of the major mitigation strategies that were imposed by the state have been drawn back, such as the elimination of public water fountains. Those will come back again. The plexiglass shields will be coming down. All those particular pieces that we've been asked to put in by the state has now rescinded it and asked us to treat this like we would any other infectious disease, and that's how we plan on moving forward. As a reminder to all, there is a federal regulation about wearing masks on public transportation. School buses fall under the category of public transportation. That is in place until March 18th. We, again, just like the Connecticut mandate, we have no authority to override that until it expires on March 18th. So anyone who's riding the school bus or any type of public transportation must continue to wear a mask during that time. And that is my report.
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, can I just ask Mr. Cernich a question about what he was just saying?
Sure.
Well, it would be more just an extension, seeing that all of this is being lifted, and we're going back to, quote, normal. Will there be, and obviously prom is happening, and all these things are happening, so will things like, I don't know her name, I'm sorry, I apologize, mentioned, like, will we come back to all the dances and stuff now
So
for the schools and activities?
As I received the report and forwarded to the board just a day or two ago,
Right.
we had the meeting about it today. I'm meeting with administrators tomorrow to discuss this, and we will communicate moving forward.
Okay,
So
thank you.
I included it in my report because it's brand new to keep the public
Right,
updated,
absolutely.
but I haven't even, some of the things that I'm saying right now for the first time, the principals in the background have not even heard, they're hearing it for the first time as well, so.
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay. All right, comments by, communications to the board. I don't believe we have any. No. Okay. Number 9, comments by the board chair. Now that we've completed and submitted the budget for 2022-2023, the next item of equal importance is the semi-annual or mid-evaluation of our superintendent. These two responsibilities are the top obligations for all boards of education. All board members were sent our updated evaluation form with a descriptor and rubric for each area of performance. Our Chief of Staff, Mrs. Pinozzo, will be receiving the evaluations by Monday, February 28th, and will average the scores as well as collate the comments for a draft copy. The board will offer additional input as reviewed and then meet with the superintendent to review the final draft. Hopefully, the final copy all of this will be completed within the next 3 weeks. The COVID Operations Committee met today regarding the masking option that will begin on February 28th. The superintendent has given you details so far and will continue to do so, and I would imagine put it on the school system's website, right? The Facebook page, as well as each school's website, right? Each school site, or it's already on, it will be on?
It'll be on the district, so I
Okay.
can't speak to the individual school sites.
Okay, well, usually they put it on. We are making masking optional, but also encouraging those who choose to stay masked. We encourage sensitivity and respect to the choices that are made. As part of an effort to continue a positive, transparent, and collaborative effort between our board and our city officials, I represented our board at the February Board of Aldermen meeting on Thursday, February 10th at City Hall. Our superintendent also attended. The meeting was completed within an hour, and new business that concerned our board was the approval of funding for the Transversa route training for Shelton Student Transportation Services and funding for two-way radios for Shelton Student Transportation Services. Our Vice Chair, Kate Kutash, will be the board's representative at the March meeting. I thank all of the board members who signed on to do this. Their commitment is truly appreciated. Tomorrow, I will be up bright and early to attend, not as early as Mr. Scarrett, because he told me he gets to school at 5:30 in the morning. That's not happening here. Anyways, I will be up and I will be at a training session at Shelton Intermediate School for CPR. This is just the beginning, which I think is very exciting, of a new program being introduced and instructed by Mike Maglione and Joe Lasella in getting students interested and possibly involved with EMT, volunteer firefighting, and emergency services. An article will be written by me for Shelton Life because this is in conjunction with the city, and the mayor is very excited about this program, and I think I believe they're looking to extend this into the high school in the future. So I think it's a very positive thing by our city and working together with our school system. An article will be written for Shelton Life, will detail the who, what, where, and why of the program. And the other article that will be in Shelton Life, and I believe the edition will be coming out at the beginning of April, and it will detail none other than our student rep, and it will contain her award-winning essay, and we are so very proud of the spotlight that she shined on our school system and community, and that is my report. Next, reports of standing committee, Teaching and Learning Committee.
Teaching and Learning did not meet in February because of our new alternating schedule. We meet on March the 8th, I think I wrote down.
Yes.
And our topics will be NWEA results and the 7-12 math program.
Thank you. Finance Committee?
Finance Committee met at 6 o'clock tonight. So just some quick updates regarding the reports. I know this was a concern that Amy had brought to our attention. We're going to be adjusting next month the monthly reports to kind of show year-to-date so we know where we're tracking according to the budget. Two areas that we continue to watch are special ed, as that continues to be a moving target. Last month, I think we learned that we had 89 new students enter into special ed, either moving into the district or just getting services. That jumped to 93 this month.
Yeah,
So
as of last week.
As of last week. So we have decided to make a regular part of the meeting an update on the number of special ed kids so we can kind of track to see how that affects our budget. Health insurance is the other thing that is a moving target. Right now, per Todd, we are tracking okay on that. As far as pay to participate, Todd noted that $30,000 was taken out of that account to use for spring sports needs, equipment, referees, cones, various things like that. The cafeteria bidding process is starting this year. That's a big one. And Todd and Catherine actually had to go to training for that. It's apparently quite the big deal. Todd continues to participate in CASBA, which is the business business officials of schools. They meet regularly, so that's something I think we haven't had before, so that's nice that Todd can solicit from other towns, different ideas, that type of thing. Track and field, the bidding, we got the specs ready, so the bidding process is gonna start. The biggest news I think Ken touched on was the last reimbursement that is coming from past projects that we've done that goes to the city for, from the state. That last one was being held up, and Ken, I think, harassed everybody up in Hartford and finally tracked down and found the money, so that's the last piece that's coming. We went over the operational audit that was done. There were recommendations, and the staff has put together a spreadsheet, and every month we're gonna get a new spreadsheet as far as where these recommendations and where they're tracking. We had a Q&A on that. And the last item, we just want to remind everybody, as far as legal fees, we're trying to keep that down as a group. We had a bill for $500 for unauthorized contacts, so we're just asking everybody to leverage other sources such as CABE and Ken's expertise as well. And that's it.
Thank you. Policy.
Yes.
Policy Subcommittee meeting was held virtually on Tuesday, February 8th at 4:30. The primary agenda item was continued discussion of bylaw 9222, which is resignation, removal, and censure. The subcommittee continued to review and revise the original submission of the suggested updates to the existing bylaw. Although the update now appears to be appropriate, the lack of a clear process within the bylaw was questioned. Suggestions have been made to clarify the process, and now a subcommittee working session may occur after the next teaching and learning committee meeting in order to make a revision so that at the next policy committee, we'll have something more concrete to present, just to kind of streamline and make sure we're working efficiently. And the next policy meeting is Tuesday, official policy meeting is Tuesday, April 5th at 4:30 Central Office in person.
Okay, thank you. Buildings and grounds.
Hi, Ken. Buildings and Grounds was canceled in February due to lack of attendance that night. And I believe we were going to work on a new date with Ken to probably have a meeting in March.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, we had a lack of quorum, so,
We're looking at a date, it's the, before finance. He was hard to.
yeah, it was hard.
Tentatively, right now, March 16th.
Okay.
Right?
16th.
Yeah, March 16th.
Okay,
Before the
thank you,
finance.
Joseph.
Yep.
All right, reports of liaison, CES.
CES Council does not meet in February, we meet next week on Thursday.
Thank you very much. Kate?
Okay, among the many things that CAPE does for BOEs across the state, one of the most important things is the advocacy they provide for legislative priorities. CAPE currently is advocating that the state remove the cap on special education excess cost reimbursement grant, which is at 74%, which is, we are not getting 100%, and that's causing our problems with our budget. CAPE is asking the legislature to remove the cap so that districts can have a predictable reimbursement. Special education programs and placements are federal mandates, but more importantly, they are moral obligations to provide the education a student needs to succeed, and I think everyone on this board agrees with that.
Thank you. All right. Agenda item 12, for your information, attached in your packet, vacancy report, staff and stipend actions, enrollment report, and bus data log. Number 13, celebrations. Yes, Mrs.
I
Kuchar.
just want to say I was tracking Mrs. Marks' school, Middle School, with their cereal box collection for the 100th day of school. From what I read, they collected more than 600 boxes of cereal. I think the goal was 100 per grade, for over 100 stuff. And then they lined them up and knocked them down outside.
Oh, wow. That was great. Great. And then the cereal was, the boxes of cereal
Went to the food bank.
went to the food bank. Excellent, thank you. Great job. All right, anyone else?
At the high school, and Kathy can probably, we've had some signings of athletes choosing their colleges and getting scholarships. The Herald, I think, has done a really nice job on reporting about that. So, and I apologize to Mrs. Riddle and the sports community that Patty and I have been negligent this winter in attending and various sports events due to hibernation by me, and we hope to resume this in the spring.
Okay, and before we adjourn, I just want to brag about my adopted school, Mohegan School, held their jump rope for heart, and They raised over $27,000, which they gave to the American Heart Association. Congratulations, Mohegan. Thank you. As Mrs. Santilli always said, Mohegan School is the school with a heart, right? And I just have to comment because Diana did send me a little message about my good friend Jack Good, who I've never met, but I always comment about his accomplishments, and it seems like he is, once again, all-state jazz ensemble guitarist, and this is the first year that he is going to appear in person, right?
Yes.
So congratulations to Jack and his family. And it is
And a bottle drive this weekend up at the high school for everybody, if you have cans and bottles, the band members.
Because they didn't have it in December, they did
Yeah.
it in January.
So hopefully, weather permitting, bring your bottles and cans. Thank you.
Okay. It is 7:44, and we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, Joe.
Bye, Joe.
Enjoy the sunshine.
Okay, I will bring that to her tomorrow. I keep forgetting. Because it's in my school drawer. Under my desk.
Keep over to my office.